All right, welcome back to Blue by 90, presented by Maize and Brew. I'm Justin, joined by Jack and Kalen. As always, it's March, and things aren't going so well. I, Jack, you're gonna have a very difficult time keeping me on the positive vibes only train today.
Well, I'll tell you what. This will help you out here.
All right.
So win one, lose one, right? That's what's kind of been the record recently for basketball.
Right.
So they lose the Big Ten tournament, they're going to win the NCAA tournament.
Well, we're going not just game by game anymore. We're going by tournament.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So we're good.
I like that.
Yeah. Positive vibe.
That's right.
I like how you spun that completely in our favor and just went for it. I mean,
oh yeah. No other way to do it, man.
No other way. I was thinking, okay, honestly, I was going to be happy with just one win in the tournament. But you went, we're going to win the whole tournament.
Yeah, throw your money down.
Oh my God. I mean,
do we think it'll be they'll play in? Like, will they be a play-in team, or you think they're going to get a high enough seed to avoid that?
According to Lenardi, after the game today, they were still the last team that was not a play-in team.
Okay. I'll take that.
I mean, there's a lot of basketball to be played in the next 3 days, though, that will determine all of that stuff. But I mean, if I would have just watched the first half, I would tell you, yeah, I do think that team can win the whole tournament. They can win the Big Ten tournament. They can win anything.
Yeah, first half it looked great.
We were playing well. Like, that was the first time that they played defense. That was they were playing really well on both ends of the court, hitting their shots. It was, and then it just, everything fell apart.
Yeah. It was funny because I was at work and I was watching on the game cast, and the first half ended, and one of the project managers walked over and he's like, "Great first half."
Yeah, it was. It really was. I mean, I tweeted out what did I say? It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people out there when Michigan wins the Big Ten tournament. It's not looking good right now. There are a lot of people in the mentions.
You jinxed them, man.
Yeah, whatever. I don't believe in jinxes, to be honest. Not on Twitter, at least. But
that's a jinx-free zone. Only Twitter.
Well,
real life.
Listen, if there are jinxes on Twitter, then we can't tweet anything. So then we're gonna have to keep quiet the entire game, which is no fun. So, but I don't know, man. It was just that was one of the more epic collapses I've seen from a Michigan basketball team in quite some time, let alone any basketball team.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. I mean, they went a full 6 or 7 minutes without a field goal.
I think it was 10. I think it was into double digits.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's just a tough streak. And then Trace Jackson Davis, I think he got majority of his points in the second half, right? He just kind of went off.
19 of 24.
Yeah.
Hey, that's their only good, not their only good player, but their obvious best player. What if we guarded him?
Mm.
And they were able to hit a lot of shots from beyond the arc, it seemed like. More so in the second half than the first half, I thought.
I mean, shit, I didn't feel like they were hitting anything in the first half. And then it just felt like they were hitting everything. And I mean, I get it. Teams can get hot right in the second half or whatever. And I didn't think that they were going to continue shooting as poorly as they did in the first half. But what bothered me more was we could barely get it over half court. It felt like it was like we were getting to the top of the key and then going absolutely nowhere to get to and then it resulted in a turnover.
Yeah. These ESPN stats are shitty. I don't have the on the MGO Blue one, it seems like it's way more detailed, but
what are you looking for?
Turnovers. I mean, I think it must have been like those timely turnovers again. For whatever reason, the second half, Devontae Jones was like playing on a slip and slide. Kept falling down and dropping the ball, and
he looked like Devontae Jones of the first 5 to 10 games of the year. Not Devontae Jones, Ohio State, absolutely taking over, looking like Derek Walton.
Yeah, I mean, other than those timely turnovers, I thought he played pretty well. But those were such huge plays.
I mean, the timely turnovers were like the entire second half.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the big question that I had too was, why the hell weren't we trying to get it to Hunter Dickinson in the second half? I mean, that's got to be your go-to, in my opinion. Like, when things just kind of are getting out of hand, like, let Hunter slow it down, back him down, and go down to the post like he usually can, and let's get our 2 points and get out of there.
Well, it seemed to me like they were getting it to Hunter, but he was just passing it out.
I agree. Why?
Wait, what? You just contradicted yourself like that.
Well, I mean, I think that they weren't getting it to him enough, but I think when they did get it to him, he was kicking it out. Like, but I don't know why. Maybe he was still not feeling great.
I saw Jack say that he was hopped up on Pepto-Bismol and C4.
Maybe.
You know, it got him through the first half. Second half, it, made his tummy rumble again.
Shit. I don't know. It was like, here's my take on Hunter specifically. How can you be the same guy in the second half of that MSU game where you're the villain, you want it so bad, you take it all, you're absolutely dominant, you want the spotlight, and then in a game where it's, pretty close to do or die, right? Like, it's tournament time, and then you don't want the ball, and like, I just don't get how you can be both of those people at once.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like I don't know. I don't know how to comment on that one, because I don't want to say that he's not trying to be that guy, but you could definitely see a difference between the Michigan State game and this last game. Yeah.
Now, would it be a conspiracy to speculate about Phil Martelli not being in charge so much anymore, or
I mean, there's something to say about, there were like 100 people on Twitter after the game that are like, fire Juwan, just hire Martelli. And I think, like, all right, can we just not be so stupid and extreme? It's just classic. I think it's sports fans in general, but Michigan fans, I feel like, are so bad at this, where it's like, we're either the greatest team ever or the worst team ever, or you're the greatest coach ever or the worst coach ever. Like, there can be a middle ground, obviously. But I do think that, like, Martelli, I think, is very seasoned in rotations and getting guys in and getting guys out. And I think that that's where Juwan has not done super well in his first 3 years. He's still getting that under his belt. And I felt like today it was like we went the 10 minutes of just getting shit on and not scoring, and I didn't feel like anybody subbed in. Kobe Buffkin had 0 minutes. T. Will only had like 7. Like, Frankie, had most of his in the first half. It was like, it just felt like you needed to change something up to get something rolling, and he just stuck with it.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like there was some there was a little bit lackadaisical during that span. It doesn't look like they were running, or at least they were trying to run some pick plays, and it just wasn't working out. I thought the Indiana defense on the picks and switches played really, really well, and that's a big reason why I think Michigan wasn't able to score there. And then guys just weren't hitting shots. I mean, it was a tough stretch. I mean, they looked out of sync in sorts, but got to give credit where it's due for that Indiana defense, and Trace Jackson Davis just fucking having an unreal second half. Even defensively, I think he had like 3 blocks in that second half that were huge.
But I think I do understand what you're saying in terms of like rotations and things like that. Because if I'm recall correctly, I don't think Kobe Buffkin played at all, right?
No.
Yeah.
It is strange.
And T Will, like, listen, I know that like T Will is probably not going to go 3 for 4 from 3 again, right? But when you've got a hot hand that just helped you beat a really good opponent on the road, like, let's show him some love, get him into a rhythm, right? And I don't know. I just think Juwan still has a lot to learn in terms of rotations until he, can figure that stuff out. But I'm also like, Phil, help your guy out, you know. But it's easy to say hindsight's 2020, right? Too, where it's like, he's got his starting five, his best five out there, and when they make shots, that's a great move, right? And when they don't, then you're an idiot, right? So it's just one of those things, but it just felt like way too long of a stretch for them to just keep riding on those guys that obviously aren't producing.
Fair. It's fair.
So where do we go from here?
I just hope they make the tournament.
Shit, dude. It was like after the Ohio State game, it was like, all right, we got this in the bag, and now complete 180, it feels like, where we're going to be sweating this out again on Sunday.
Hey, let's make it more exciting for us.
I don't want exciting. I was messaging with Swanky on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, we're talking in the first half. I was like, honestly, a no stress game is perfect. Like, if we can just get by this one, that'd be great. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I predict a blowout. And I'm like, yeah, I'll, I think it'd be good if they can get into a rhythm and like actually, have it string a couple games together. They couldn't even string two halves together. And now here we are. And I'm just like, well, we're very much on the bubble again. So here we go.
I love it. Keep my blood pumping.
All I heard is you jinxed us.
Which is also true. All right? Which is also true.
God, fuck you guys. I mean, we were up 17 with like 12 minutes left.
I'll be honest. I thought about it too. I was like, maybe I'll throw $1 on Indiana, just to come back and win. I wish I would have.
Should have.
Should have.
The tough thing now is that we could possibly be in the play-in game, and I think all of Michigan fans trashed MSU last year for being in the play-in game.
Oh, yeah.
Just comes back to bite us real quick.
Karma's real.
But we got our loss out the way, so at least we'll win.
Exactly. So we'd win the play-in game.
True. Yeah. I just struggle. I really struggle with this team because you're just like, at times you're like, man, this is a top 10 to 15 team. This team can be really good. And then I'm reminded like immediately after that, wow, this team is incredibly average.
They're highs and lows. The average of it is, yes, they're an average team, but they're so talented. And they could go on a run. It is March. Anything can happen.
Half of me wants to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, wow, you lost Franz, you lost Livers, you lost Mike Smith, you lost Sean D. Like, there is that. But, like, if you want to be elite in college basketball, you reload and you plug and play. And they had the people, I felt like, to do that, and it just hasn't come to fruition. So, like, do you guys see an issue with development now? I mean, we're end of the year 3 essentially with Juwan Howard. Are you panicking at all, or are you sticking with the positive vibes?
Sticking with the positive vibes. If it's a 2-year stretch,
never would have guessed that.
If it's a 2-year stretch where that's happening, then it's like, okay, it's time to like, maybe a change needs to be made. But I think everybody needs to chill the fuck out. It's 1 year. Even like Coach K has had bad years at Duke. It's, it'll happen. This guy is he's in his 3rd year as being head coach. Can't cut him some slack.
Yeah, it's 100%. This is like, I feel like that's like sky is falling level, It would be just like me saying last year, fire Jim Harbaugh, right?
Right.
Or,
and we did.
After 2020.
I know I was on that train, and I'm glad that, it didn't work out in my favor because look what happened. That's one down year. You can't really, make a conclusion on that.
Yeah. If it was a pattern, I'd be on board. But to me, this is an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I think the fire Juwan Howard crowd is even more asinine than the fire Jim Harbaugh crowd. Fire Jim Harbaugh crowd, honestly, they had an argument.
Yeah, didn't win a Big Ten title, didn't beat Ohio State
for a fucking long time, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's just frustrating when you see those pieces and then you're just like, man, why can't they put it together? You have an All-American, right? Like your preseason top 5, that's where it's frustrating. Like, should they have been preseason top 5? No, it's completely on what was, in there last year. But like, I don't know. And Caleb Houston's aren't always going to pan out in year 1, where I think I'm going to be very frustrated is if in a couple weeks, all of a sudden, Hunter, Musa, and Caleb are all going to the NBA. Then I'm going to be like, shit, now what do we do?
I'd be shocked if Musa and Caleb went to the NBA.
I wouldn't be shocked. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be absolutely shocked.
I mean, Musa maybe, but Caleb Houston, I don't. I think people will just look back at his games where he's been so inconsistent. And, he's a shooter, right? Like we want to be able to see him drive the lane a little bit and be a little bit more aggressive, but he hasn't really proved that on a consistent basis. I just don't see him, being picked high enough or anything like that to even try to go to the NBA. Like maybe he'll go to the scouting combine or whatever Hunter Dickinson did last year to see like, hey, what do I need to work on? But I definitely see him returning, and I see him having a Franz type second year. Yeah, he's got the talent for it, got the size for it.
Even Hunter checked out the, entertained the NBA last year, and we all said I wouldn't be surprised if he went, right? And he came back, and I don't think Musa played this year as good as Hunter did last year, so it would be surprising to me to see him go.
And Musa's still so raw too.
Yeah,
got a lot to work on. A lot of talent, but still a lot that he can work on. And he can become a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, listen, do I think they should do this? No. But I think they're when you're a Caleb Houston and you're expecting to go one and done. That's just the way, 5 stars are these days. Right. So I think there's something to that. And now with the G League even becoming more of a thing with young stars, I think, if the G League's going to pay Caleb Houston $100,000 even to go play, that's pretty enticing to a guy who now doesn't have to go to school and just goes to a gym and literally shoots and works with NBA development crews and NBA coaches and plays against NBA talent.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Green, did he go G League the year before the NBA? Yeah. And he's doing pretty well. So, maybe.
I don't be completely blindsided, people, if that happens. I would, if I had to guess, I'd still think they stay, but I think it's a different world now where people that think that oh, you can develop better in college, I just don't think that's true. When you go to the G League, that's your job. Your job is to play basketball, and that's it. You're not going to study tables. You're not doing anything like that. So if there's an opportunity where you can make, decent money and go do that, it's a really good option for a lot of people.
Yeah, I still think he's gonna, if he's going to the NBA, he's got to be a first round pick. So that's why I think he'd come back. How does it work with so the G League, isn't it? because I guess I'm confused with like Jalen Green. Like if he was in the G League, how do you get drafted to the NBA? Aren't you technically already in the NBA? Kinda. Do you just get
Maybe he
brought
didn't
up?
go to the G League. I'm really not sure.
I think he did though. I think that was the whole like G League thing, unless it was like they called it a different. I don't know. It's all very confusing to me, but I don't know. I mean, another thing with the G League too, you don't have the spotlight anymore as a player.
I mean,
So-
that part is definitely true. He did play in the G League. Okay.
It depends, what the paycheck is like too, right? A lot of these 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids, you wave a little money at them and they, make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah, hard not to.
Yeah, I don't really know how the draft works then. On July 29th, so on April 16th, 2020, Green signed with the NBA G League Ignite, a developmental team affiliated. So I think there's teams that are affiliated with NBA teams, and then there's like developmental teams that are just like not affiliated.
Okay. That would make sense then.
And then he played for the Ignite for a year, and then got drafted by the Rockets right after.
All right.
So, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just like, all right. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves because there's still basketball to play this year, but I guess let's just leave it for that. We'll have conversations about, what these guys are going to do after the fact too. But I think, if this will be a really, really disappointing season if they go one and done in the NCAA tournament now.
Yeah.
It already is a pretty disappointing season, but that would be that's not average, right? Like Sweet 16 is almost like what the average, what the expectation is now for Michigan basketball. And to bow out in the first round is like a big time down year.
Yeah, I mean, like we said before, I think it's an anomaly. I think it's one bad year, and next year they'll bounce back. And if they don't, then that's a problem. But yeah, I think a Sweet 16 expectation is fair for where Michigan basketball has been recently. Obviously not every year they're going to make it there, but they should make a run. Every other year at least.
I would be ecstatic if they made the Sweet 16. I'd be like,
this year for sure.
Oh, fuck yeah. That would be like an exciting year instead of a disappointment. Like, it's like, okay, they figured it out 2 games in a row. Great.
Well, and that's what has made Izzo is he's taken like a 9 seed to the Final Four before. That's what he does. And so that's where I think you can create a career out of, even when you have your down years. Holy shit, how many times are you going to yawn?
I'm so fucking tired.
Oh my God. I'm looking at you like, are you kidding me right now?
I'll turn my camera off next time.
Bored of you.
Yeah, it's every time I'm talking too. It's unreal.
That was a forced one, but it felt good anyway.
When did you wake up? When did you go to bed? I'm so confused. It's only 8:30.
So weirdly last night. I think I went to bed at 11. I was wide awake at 2:00. Went downstairs. Was up for 3 hours. Went back upstairs. Slept for 2 hours. Just fucking mess.
All right.
That wild sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Get your shit together, please.
I know.
At least can you make it through a 30-minute podcast with us? My God.
I'm here. I'm making it.
Yeah.
You're so boring to listen to.
All right. Well, I feel like shit after that game. Part of me was just like, shit, this is just not a good team, and I really didn't give a shit. And then the thing that annoys me the most is I love the Big Ten tournament. And now I have no rooting interest in it anymore. And so it's just you on day one, I just got screwed out of being super into one of my favorite tournaments of the year. Favorite weekends of the year, honestly.
Yeah. What do? You still gonna watch it?
Yeah, I will, but it's just
You have to pick a new favorite team or something.
In the Big Ten, I'm not gonna pick a new
Illinois. You look like an Illinois type of guy.
Are you kidding me right now?
Well,
you were literally talking.
Talk through it.
Oh man.
Well, it sucks because we're so spoiled, right? The last few years as Michigan fans, we've had like really fun time watching the Big Ten tournament. So then to see us just crash and burn, it feels like this year. It's like, what the hell?
It's been a tough season for those boys.
Well, we haven't had a first round loss in the Big Ten tournament since 2006.
Wow. Well, also technically, wasn't this the second round?
No.
No.
Well, maybe, but they haven't lost their first game.
Still streaking.
They haven't lost their first game in the Big Ten tournament since 2006.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a bad loss. Like, I know you guys are trying to be positive vibes only, but that was a bad fucking loss. Especially when you
it was for sure.
Did.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I guess we can talk about the players too. Like Caleb Houston was drilling his threes, and then it was like he didn't put a shot up then after he hit those three until the final 2 minutes when we had to get back into it.
I swear I'm not doing it on purpose, man.
For everyone that listening at home, Jack just yawned one more time.
We need a yawn counter.
So yeah, I mean, like it was just like everybody disappeared, and it was deer in headlights. It was you just felt it crumbling the entire time, and like you could feel it happening the whole time, and there was just no way to stop it.
Yeah, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like, what was it? In Space Jam, they drained the Monstars, drained like the NBA players' talent. That's almost what it kind of felt like.
Honestly,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm at a loss for
playing
words.
away or what? I don't know.
I don't know what to do. I don't know.
I feel so bad for you because you're just like looking for an answer so hard. You're just like, why is this happening?
Well, whenever anything bad happens to me with Michigan sports, I definitely say like, why me? Like, what did I do? Because there's been so many of those moments. Up until November 27th, I was like, literally nothing good happens to me with this team, with this program.
Oh man, so much positivity radiating from you.
There's nothing to be positive about today. I'm sorry. I can't spin it anyway.
Oh my God.
So sorry, depressing podcast here, but it's a tough one. Hey,
yawn.
Yeah, yawn through it, sleep through it, people. Women's team is coming up though, so Selection Sunday's on Sunday the same day, so we get to see. They'll host, hopefully. I mean, they're projected as a 3 seed, so they'll host hopefully here. But yeah, man, we'll see what goes on. Hopefully they carry it. We'll see.
We don't have a lot to say.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Me fucking talking
I'm with you.
To a yawning wall over here.
I'm with you. I agree.
Holy shit. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for listening. You can follow us at Blue by90 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're on the Amazing Brew YouTube channel and the Amazing Brew Podcast Network. We appreciate you guys listening. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.